Amiga, I'm telling you, I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. And I had this diaper on. Like, this is so embarrassing. I had this diaper on. My brain would not let me pee my pants.
What happened?
So I went and I asked her if I can borrow a fan. Sorry. It's like, can I borrow your fan? And she was like, yeah, I'm just counting one thing. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll do your thing. I let her count her thing.
Yeah, then borrowed a fan.
I borrowed a whole fan. But you cannot say anything to anyone on the bus tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ya pasa. Ey, kita bebas lang rin kasi ka natin ko na mga kasi kita bebas. Netis ko kasi tatas.
A million people in the crowd, but I only.
Hey amiga, what is up and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Jennyfer Ross and I'm back at it again with yet another video. Today's video is gonna be a FaceTime kind of video. I'm gonna be telling you all about our trip to London. I've been getting a lot of questions about the trip, questions about like what company we went with, how the whole trip was put together, if it was an all-in trip, like a whole bunch of questions, and if I recommend the company that I went with. So I figured this would be a good video to just explain everything to you, still show you some of the footage because the whole vlog was in Papiamento. My sister is taking care of the English vlog. It will be on her channel shortly and I will keep you posted when her video goes live. However, there is some beans to be spilled about this trip. A lot of things were communicated to us and it didn't go that way. And as someone who is on the internet and sharing these type of things with you, I thought it would only be fair to just be honest, because I feel like the vlog really showed like a highlight reel of the whole trip, and my sister and I made the best out of the trip. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily, before you book anything with this company, I would just want you to know like how our experience was and our true experience, and not like just a highlighted version. We didn't do that on purpose, by the way. We just wanted to focus on having a good time and making the best out of the situation, and not so much like talking about the negative, because we just didn't want to ruin it for ourselves. And I feel sometimes that when you start being like negative or saying the things how you really feel, it can just change your whole mood, and that's just what we didn't want. We just wanted to be in a good mood, but there are things that weren't that great and that I do want to share with you before you book a trip with this company. So yeah, that is that. We're gonna go ahead and get into this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos from me. And also let me know if this is appreciated, if these type of videos are necessary, if this helped you with anything, just let me know, because that would be really helpful. So yeah, let's go. Let's get into this video. So I do want to give a little disclaimer for this video. I'm not making this video to shame the company that we used for this trip. I'm not making this video to shame the bus driver that we had on this trip, because he was very thoughtful, he was very considerate with a lot of things, and none of this is his fault. He's just executing what he is asked, and that is that. That is not his fault. A lot of this could have been just easily solved with a simple communication. It could have been easily solved like that. And since I got a lot of questions from other amigas that want to book trips with this company, I was like, okay, you know what? I feel like I need to make this video because I don't feel good telling you like, yeah, it's just this company, not telling you anything, and then for when you go you have like a same experience as I had, which isn't the best, you know. So I'm not saying don't book with them, but I just want you to keep these things in consideration, and especially if you saw it from my vlog and you want to go based on my vlog, then I want you to know these things before you book, and then after that it's on you, you know, like, you know what you could run into and you still decided to do it, which is fine. but then you know, okay? So that's the reason why I'm making this video. It was supposed to be from Monday, the 25th of July, up until the 27th of July. 2 weeks before our departure date, I got an email from this company, Slangenreizen, and they tell me that my trip has been canceled due to not enough people participating. I can understand that, and I don't want them to make unnecessary costs and stuff, but we were really excited for this trip just because we have been to London, I think more than 10 years ago, and we just weren't vlogging at the time, and we really wanted to relive that experience again. So that is why the destination needed to be London again. When they sent me the email with the information that our trip would be canceled, they also put other trips that I could choose from, including Paris for the same amount or the same length of the vacation or trip, or I could go to London again, departing from the same date that I initially booked, but then in this time my trip would be 1 day longer. So I had to fix an extra day at work for Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, yeah, for Thursday, the day before Friday, because it's also now like summer vacation. A lot of people already took their vacation days, like all of that. It was very difficult, but they managed to allow me that extra day off, luckily, so we could go to London. So they made me pay 44 euros for the booking cost to change my booking and to have my trip extended to 4 days instead of 3 days. So I paid it, it was all arranged. They sent me a itinerary of all the days and how my trip is gonna look like, so you can better be prepared for your trip with all the information, everything. So that was great. Then the date rolls around, which was Monday the 25th of July, and it was our departure date. We were supposed to leave at 6 from metro station Kapelsebrug in Rotterdam. We make sure that we are there. We were there an hour early because due to a lot of people being on vacation right now, including a lot of taxi drivers, it was very difficult to get a taxi. So we managed to get one, and we were there an hour early because it was so quiet on the road, and we didn't mind that actually, because we just wanted to make sure that we were there in time. And public transportation was not an option due to the fact that it was just too early. Nothing was driving yet. So anyways, long story short, the bus comes. The bus does not have the name of the company on it. Doesn't matter, but we had to go around and ask like all touring cars that we saw if they were the one from Slangenreizen. And a lot of bus drivers were really snobby, like no, and like being just mean for no reason. And I didn't really understand why. I'm just asking you a simple question. I don't want to miss my bus, you know? So yeah, we managed to get on our bus, and we were told that our bus would drive, we would start making our drive directly to London from there. So we were a little surprised because the bus was not as full, and there were like a lot of spaces left. And there were people that were going to Paris, people that were going to Prague, people that were going to Spain, like a lot of places. And we were going to London. We were the only ones going to London, so we started to get worried. So we get on the bus. The bus driver tells us, yeah, we're gonna drive somewhere, and then there we're gonna change buses. Everybody is getting their bus to their destination. So okay, that bus driver could have told us like how this whole thing is set up, you know, but he didn't. And then the email also said nothing about us having to switch buses. So we thought maybe there was an unfortunate situation, maybe like a bus broke or something, and that is the reason why we had to make a switch. Anyways, we drive all the way up to Eindhoven to find out that this company has a it's like an open parking lot for touring cars, and that is where like a lot of buses will come with different destinations: London, Paris, Prague, Spain, whatever, Germany, everything comes there, and there you take your bus to the destination that you have. This is not a problem, but you need to keep in mind, we were on a touring car. We were there early from 5 o'clock already. My sister have like a weak bladder. She needs to go to the toilet a lot. So we were just like sitting there without being able to go to the toilet for 2 hours already. And maybe that first hour is not their fault because we were there early. But okay, we were standing there. We left from Rotterdam at 6, you know? And we were at Eindhoven at 8:30. So that's already 2.5 hours of just keeping, you know, not being able to use the bathroom. That is a lot. And on the bus that we drove with to Eindhoven, there was no toilet available. So that could have been something that could have been easily solved like that. I don't know, by having a toilet accessible to you. But there wasn't. The parking lot where we were waiting for the other buses, there was no toilet there available either. And it took a very long time. We left from Eindhoven, I think at 9:15. And we were just waiting. Since we got there, we waited like 45 minutes for our own bus. Okay, that's not long at all. We needed to use the toilet, but then I understand it. I do understand it. Trust me, I do. But then when we get on our bus that goes to London, we already get like a rant from the bus driver that, yeah, try to like hold it up as much as you can because this thing is not like connected to a sewage, being filled up in a tank, blah, blah, blah. I get all of that, but like, listen, the planning, I don't know. I feel like if I kind of knew that I wouldn't be able to use the toilet from 6 until 9, then I wouldn't have even had any tea that morning, if you get what I'm saying. Like, we get on our bus, we drive, we use the restroom, because what other option do we have? Like, we were keeping that in for so long, we couldn't hold it anymore. We went. And then there was this lady sitting in front of the toilet, like her seats were the toilet was behind her. So this lady is just like judging everyone, like, yeah, now everyone went on the toilet, la la la. And I'm like, just shut up. Like, shut up. People left their house, I don't know what time, early. This is not well arranged, okay? They promised us that we would get 45 minutes of a break. And that would exclude the time on the ferry. So we drive, we get into Belgium, and when we are in Belgium, we get a 10-minute break at a gas station. The bus driver tells us that that you're not allowed to bring any like hot sandwiches onto the bus because the whole thing will get stanky, and he doesn't want that. Also something that I can respect, I can understand. So we did. Nobody did not listen. We listened to what he had to say and we respected it. 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, you need to use the restroom, buy something to drink, buy something to eat, and be back on time. We get in there and it is so busy. The line for the toilet is so long that people are already outside of the gas station waiting for the toilet. And there are multiple toilets. So that took a very long time. You had to choose whether you go to use the toilet or buy something to drink or eat, because that line was crazy as well. There are people using the gas station because it's a gas station. So that was already something. 10 minutes was just not enough, but we needed to respect it because he was trying to make it to our ferry in time. And before the ferry, we needed to also pass customs, which can also take a lot of time since we are with a whole touring car with, I think, like 60 people or something. So that can take its time, you know. And imagine if something isn't right. Imagine if someone doesn't have the correct papers, la la la, like all that, you know. Then we get to customs. That was all okay. Everything went well. Nothing to really complain about that. And we head to the ferry. On the ferry, that was very, very nice though. They gave us a voucher and that was included, and you could get a meal completely for free, a warm meal on the ferry. Very nice of them, because after all this torture, I think like we kind of deserve it, you know? We took the ferry from Calais, which is France, and we would go to Dover, and the cross would take 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, I think. Yeah. So anyways, we got this voucher. The lines were very, very long though. However, that is not really the fault of slangenreis. It is what it is, I guess. And yeah, you just had to wait long. Lines for the toilets were also long, because I think people have been traveling for so long and they need to use the toilet. So anyways, we worked our way around that. We managed to eat, we managed to have our food, and we made it across the other side in time. Okay, we got to the other side, which is Dover, and now we were thinking that we were going to a hotel that is near London, you know, I don't know, maybe just outside of London, just near London. Tell me how we make no stops at all, and it was a 4.5 hour drive to our hotel. We passed London. It was 2.5 hours away from London, where our hotel was situated. 2.5 hours. And a 4 hour drive from the boat from Dover to Sheldon. I don't even remember what the name was called of the village where we stayed. But yes, that is where our hotel was situated. By the time we get there, of course, more people needed to use the toilet because we didn't make no stops as we were promised. That is, I don't know if that's the bus driver's fault or the planning's fault, because honestly, if he would have made the stops, we would have gotten there even later. So yeah, it's one thing or the other, but in this situation, the whole thing was just a mess, and I don't know what to tell you, you know, but I need for you to know. So anyways, we got there. The hotel where we stayed was called Campanile Hotel. The hotel itself, like, listen, for the price I paid for this trip, which was 199 euros per person, I don't expect the Hilton or something, you know? Like, I don't expect the Sheraton. I don't expect like a 5-star hotel, but the hotel was very, very, very outdated. It felt like kind of like a summer camp. There was no air conditioning. It was extremely hot. Thank God it wasn't as hot as they predicted it was gonna be, because if that was the case, that would, oh my God, that would have been a situation and a half. But thank God it was not that hot. It was hot, but not super hot, you know? So I'm very grateful for that. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna make a fuss about the hotel because we're not gonna be here for that long. And also, like with everything, I just wanna be in London. I wanna have a good time. I didn't bother on filming anything from the hotel, which I now highly regret. But that was that. The next day though, everyone was complaining about their back because the beds were like the beds with the spiral stuff, like I don't know how you call that, but like the spiral stuff, like very outdated. However, my sister and I, we showered, we did our thing, we got ourselves together, and to me, it was, I didn't want to make a fuss about it, but it wasn't great. It was not great. Breakfast though, it was a very, very good breakfast, an English breakfast with eggs, like all types of stuff you could choose from. Eggs, bacon, sausage, beans, I believe. You had like mushrooms. You could choose like a whole bunch of variation of cereal, pancakes. You had this toaster oven in which you could toast your bread. It was a very good breakfast. I'm not gonna lie about that. At least they made it up in that department. It was a good breakfast, to say the least. So that was great. But one thing was that we had to have the breakfast at 8, and exactly at 9 we had to leave for London, because otherwise it's a 2.5 hour drive, which the first day we didn't know, because the bus driver told us, yeah, it's like an hour and a half, which wasn't true. It was 2.5 hours. driving to London, and then the traffic in London would also determine how much longer or how much time would be added to this. So the first day we arrived around 11:30. That's 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Then we had our first day in London, which was great. It was great, but however, we were promised, let me tell you, in the planning or the thing that I received about the days and how my days would look like, they said that we would leave the hotel at 9 after breakfast, and then we would drive to the center of London. We would get a trip, like a sightseeing trip in the center of London, and we would get like a lot of things that you could see and where you could also hop off. And then after this, they would drop you off at the Victoria Embankment. Due to the hotel being so far away, we drove directly to the Victoria Embankment. We did not do like the tour of us seeing things, not at all. We didn't do that. So we got there. My sister and I took the metro to Oxford Street. We bought Oyster cards, that is like the metro system cards for London. And we went and we had an amazing day. Here are some clips from day one in London.
We're in trances, going all to different places, different planets. Watch your aura pass me by, losing balance. What if we run out of time and second chances, empty-handed?
the first day we were picked up back from the Victoria Embankment at 8. Yes, at 8. And that was nice. It was a fun day. Nothing to really complain about it. We go back to the hotel, and I had like this little mini hand fan that I would use also at night, but it broke. It fell and it broke. So I went to the front desk of the hotel, and I asked them for a fan because it was hot. I could not sleep like that. So I went, I asked, I got what I wanted. I asked for extra pillows for me and my sister because I was just trying to make the best out of the situation. And I asked for an ironing board to iron my clothes because I didn't want to go like around in London looking crazy with my clothes all wrinkled. Like, no. I asked for a whole lot and I got everything I asked for. So at least I have to give them that. It's not the best hotel, but at least they can help you with those little things, which I feel is actually kind of normal, because maybe I'm giving them way too much credit here for something that should be like simple, but I'm grateful for it. I really appreciated it, and it did help me out. It did help me sleep better. And yeah, so they gave me a fan and they gave me a extra pillow for me and my sister, which made the whole experience a little bit better. Fine. Day 2, nothing different. We have our breakfast at 8. We leave at 9. We arrive in the center of London this time again at 11:30. No sightseeing at all. I kind of understand, but at the same time it was promised. We didn't get it because it was a 2.5-hour drive, and the bus driver wanted to drop us off as soon as possible, and that would also add to the extra time of us driving there or getting to the point where we could hop off. And on day 1 and on day 2 in London, he also closed the toilets for the 2.5-hour drive because he was like, yeah, I don't want the tank to get full, and I need like the half of the tank that is still empty for our way back when we go back to the Netherlands. So it was 2.5 hours of keeping your pee up, keeping it up again until you could go to the restroom or bathroom. So that's that. Anyway, he did tell us that this time he would have to pick us up an hour earlier. We were promised initially that we would get till 8 o'clock that we would be picked up, but this time he said like, yeah, I'm sorry, I will have to pick you up an hour earlier. An hour earlier because he had an amount of time that he was allowed to drive, and like basically his work hours that he was permitted to drive, that would come in. That would be a whole problem if he would drive too much. Like, I don't know what it is, and I understand that he is a human being too, you know, he is. But why is there only one bus driver then? Like, why isn't there two? If he needs to rotate with someone, why is it all on one person then? You know, I paid for this trip, and I want to get like what I asked for, what I paid for. And up until this point, the only thing that I got is that I went into London. We didn't get the sightseeing trip that was promised with our touring car. We didn't get any of that. And also the time from which we were dropped off and which time we would be picked back up, it was such a small time slot that you could only do one activity. If you would choose to go to Oxford Street, then you would have to spend all your time there, or you couldn't do like a lot of stuff because like we didn't have enough time for that, you know? So that was a little bit annoying, I would say. But anyways, we decided to spend day 2 around Oxford Street. We did try to go into the London Eye, and we did try to go and do a drive on the Thames River, but that would have taken too long, and we decided not to do the London Eye just because it was a 45 minutes wait in the line to get into the London Eye. It would have been 45 pounds to get into the London Eye, and you would be put into a capsule with multiple people, 15 maybe, and we felt like that was a little bit of, that was a lot, and especially since in our bus people were coughing and sneezing like nobody's business everywhere, not covering up, not keeping anything into consideration. And I know, like, maybe to some people the whole corona thing isn't that serious, but to me it still kind of is. I feel like it's a conversation for another day, but I do feel like I want to be careful with a lot of things when it comes to that virus still, you know? So yeah, I didn't feel comfortable, and my sister either. She had like a full-blown panic attack when she found out that we were gonna be in there with so many people. So we decided to not do it. It was not worth it. We decided to just go back to Oxford Street and spend our day there and just make the best out of the situation. Then it was 7 o'clock. We needed to have back, or at 7 o'clock we needed to be back at the Victoria Embankment. So we respected the time. We were back in time, and we left, I think, around 7:15, back with 2.5 hour drive back to Scheiden, whatever, to go back to our hotel. Then the last day rolls around. It was kind of the same morning routine type of thing. We would have breakfast at 7 this time instead of 8, and we would leave at 8. Why? Because London is 1 hour behind, I believe. Yeah, London is 1 hour behind compared to Belgium, the Netherlands, all of that. So we would leave an hour earlier, and also the check-in, all of that was easy, thank God, thank goodness. But then we needed to make the 4.5 hour drive to the boat. And tell me why. I think 2 people or something went to the toilet on the bus, and then the tank was completely full. You could no longer use the toilet. So I ended up having to hold my pee for 4 hours again. 4 hours until I could go. I actually even prepared myself the day before. I bought like these diapers. And why? Because I got my period, maybe it's TMI, but I got my period just 1 day before. So I was like, no, I can't have this situation. And I was just anxious about the whole situation on the bus. And when I'm on my period, I can keep it up normally, but when I'm on my period, I cannot do that. I cannot. If I need to go, I need to go. Amiga, I'm telling you, I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. And I had this diaper on, like, this is so embarrassing. I had this diaper on, full grown woman. I don't even need a diaper, but I had a diaper on, okay? I needed it for the situation. And tell me why my brain would not let me pee my pants. My brain would not let me. I felt like I needed to go, and I was trying so hard, but my brain would not let me go. So I ended up being in pain for 4 hours. We were standing in the line for the customs, because you also need to pass customs when you leave the country. And then my sister, thank God for this girl, she spotted a toilet. She spotted a toilet, and I was so happy because I was standing there. I felt like I felt so ill. I felt not good. I was in so much pain. And then finally I could go and use the toilet. And when we came out of the toilet, when I came out of the toilet, she went, and then I remember when she went in, there was this, oh, anyway, my camera was overheating, so I am back after a little break. I think I was at the point where we drove back to our ferry, and from there things got a lot better when we got to the ferry though, because I could go to the toilets since my sister spotted it. On the ferry again, we did get a voucher again for some food, which was only nice. The breaks thing again, because we were an hour behind in London, we had to be at the meeting point at 6, so we weren't able to take a lot of breaks, even though we were promised that we would get 45 minutes of break, which I do understand that if we would have got the 45 minutes of break, then we wouldn't have made it to the point again where we needed to switch like touring cars again to get our touring car to Rotterdam. But then again, this was also not communicated in any of the information that we have received. I checked multiple times. There was nothing written about that. So we couldn't have our breaks, okay? We made it back in time. We had a 10-minute break again at a gas station in Belgium. Same rule goes again. You weren't able to get anything like any hot foods or sandwiches or anything, because that would stink up the whole bus and they didn't want that. So that was that. That was everything for this whole trip. When I got back home, I got so sick. I can't tell you if it was Rona or not. I did one test, but then eventually my pharmacy here, like near me, they are closed for a summer vacation, so I wasn't able to get any other tests to test myself again. But I was pretty sick, and so was my sister. So the trip was fun. Would I do it again? Yes, but not with this company. Like I already said, like, we tried to make the best out of the situation, but the whole going to the bathroom situation was just awful. There were like elderly people on our bus. Some of them were even crying because they couldn't keep it up, and then when they eventually beat themselves, then they also got side-eyed, you know, like it was just an awful situation. So for that reason in specific, I wouldn't really book that again. And to Slangenreizen themselves, like you guys are doing a lot of things good, but this could have easily been solved with like just some communication. Why don't you just communicate the fact that you get a new touring car in Eindhoven, that you will get picked up in Rotterdam and then you drive to Eindhoven, and there your journey to London or wherever you're going starts. Nobody knew about anything. Nobody was able to inform us about everything. We were clueless like half of the time. It was our driver that went to London that started to explain things a little bit better, but even the situation with the bus driver, can't that not be fixed? Normally I went with other agencies and they had like 2 bus drivers. Can this situation not be solved with 2 drivers? I feel like everything was just very, how do you say it? But like, I understand that for this price that you pay, it cannot be like a luxurious trip or whatever, but I just rather the trip be a little bit more expensive and that it's properly planned than this whole mess. And just be honest, like if you would have told me that the time that we had on the ferry is counted into the breaks, like I feel like you're mentally more prepared for it. And if I know that this is gonna be the situation, I don't know what to say about this. But you cannot tell me that there is no hotel that is like maybe an hour away, like closer to London. Why did we have to drive? Why did we have a hotel 2.5 hours away? And then another thing is, we also thought about like maybe let the bus just go and then we could do like more of the things that we had planned. But then the train to go back was 45 pounds. So that would have been 90 pounds for me and my sister to get back. That is over 100 euros, and that's just not worth it, you know? Like, can that not be better arranged? I do not believe that the only option y'all had was 2.5 hours away. I can't believe that. I'm sorry, I really can't. Y'all need to do better about that, because that was not it. I want to tell you, like, other than those things that I told you, the trip was fine. It is what you make out of it, and I learned that sometimes, even though something isn't what you expected it to be, if you are gonna be negative and complain and be upset about the way things are, it's just gonna ruin your time. So that's why my vlog looked the way it was. Everything was genuine. We did have a fun time, besides from these little things. If you want to book with Slangenreizen, go ahead. Just keep these things in consideration when you book. And I just didn't want for you to book anything because you saw it on my channel and then it being a complete different situation when you actually experience it, you know. I thought that would be deceiving of me to keep this information behind, so that's why I wanted to share that with you. So yeah, all by all, a fun trip. My sister had a great time. She's now 30. She is 30. Like what? But just little things that I did want to communicate. Anyways, I hope you can appreciate these type of videos. I hope you get where I'm coming from. Once again, I didn't mean to disrespect or talk trash about anyone. And a lot of things could have been solved with communication, but that didn't happen. So I felt like I needed to say something about it, and I filed my complaint to Slangenreizen themselves. They didn't answer me about it, but at least I let them know. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel and let me know what else you want to see on my channel. And I hope to see you soon in another video. Mwah. Bye, amiga!